You probably know by now that I'm a vegetarian, so I'm mostly useless when it comes to preparing meat dishes. Having said that, I'm always up for a good challenge, and I think this week's Brittany's Bites recipe turned out to be a success. It is National Cheeseburger Day. This is typically not a holiday that I tend to celebrate, but I'm gonna stick to my guns here and do the food holiday of today. So instead of doing burgers, which we all know how to do, right? You put it on the grill, you make it however you like, medium, medium rare, well done, and then you're making something different for everybody. Well, this is a dish that will bring everybody together, still celebrating the cheeseburger, but I'm gonna do a cheeseburger casserole. Let's get things started over here on my pan, which I can feel getting really hot. Might be a little too hot. We're just gonna put a couple of glugs of olive oil in there to get things started. Now, you could just do straight up ground beef, get it going with a few seasonings, totally fine. I'm gonna add a few things to it to, season it up a little bit more. So I'm gonna do about a half a white onion. It was a very large onion. This might be too much, I don't know. I found basically the biggest green pepper I've ever seen in the grocery store, so I'm just using half. If you have a small green pepper, use it all, that's totally fine. And I'm gonna get this going before I add the meat. Now, speaking of meat, I know you're not shocked. I'm doing the Beyond Beef today, sort of the fake meat replacement, but absolutely use ground beef for this. It's supposed to be National Cheeseburger Day. I fully support it. And I'll tell you some other things along the way that you could do to lighten it up a little bit, because again, in the end, this is gonna be a casserole that is not super healthy. This is gonna be an indulgence for you. Celebrate the food holiday that way. So we're gonna add the meat, whatever kind of product you're gonna wanna add. Open this up. All right, you're just gonna break it up. Oh, this might be a little too frozen still. I wanna add in the garlic too at this point. Stick that in there. And once I sort of get this broken up a little bit, I'm gonna actually add in some steak seasoning. Use your favorite seasoning. If you want it, I added some salt and pepper, by the way, to the pepper and onions. Whatever seasoning you want, add it in once you get this sort of mixed up a little bit. Okay, this is cooking up nicely. Again, smells amazing in here. I'm gonna just put in a little bit of steak seasoning, just a taste here. You can skip this and it'll still be fine, because we're gonna add a little bit of cheese later. Well, we're going all in. So those little cans of cheese soup, concentrate, I'm gonna put that all in there, because we're talking cheeseburger day, right? So you gotta have the cheese. And you could mix up some shredded cheese and get it to melt in here as well, but we're still gonna use some shredded cheese in another layer. So this actually just mixes up and sort of melts in nicely. So once I get that all in there, then we're gonna add, an entire thing of sour cream. All right, put this whole thing in. This is a 16-ounce container, by the way. And then I'm gonna mix this all together and we'll finally start layering it into our dish here. Once I mix this all together, we're gonna stick it in the pan and get going with our layers. Okay, we have got all of the cheese and sour cream mixed in. With a pound of meat, I thought that was gonna be a good ratio. I might actually back it down to half of the sour cream, so just do the can of cheese soup and the 8 ounces of sour cream, because I think this might be too much, but we're gonna give it a shot. So we're just gonna put it in the bottom of a 13x9 baking dish. I will say, smells very cheesy. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do, because we really want it to be almost like a fast food hamburger, at least that's what I'm going with. So I am going to layer on some pickles. And these are the hamburger dill pickle chips, so they're the ones that taste like the fast food restaurant. If you don't like pickles, leave it out. That is totally fine. But I happen to love pickles, so I can't wait to put these all over. All right, I'm gonna finish layering these and then we'll go to the next step. Now, we're gonna do a little bit more cheese. You don't have to do this step. Or if you didn't wanna add the cheese sauce to the meat, then only do it here. And given how much cheese we already put in it, I'm probably not gonna go too heavy on this. And then comes the final layer. When I was in the store, I almost got tater tots, and then I thought, actually, I wanna do it with the little round ones, the ones that you kind of get at fast food restaurants sometimes. So all I'm gonna do is put these all in a layer all across the top. And then we'll talk about the final thing before we pop it in the oven. So This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna pop it in the oven, and then we actually are gonna take it out after about 30 or 40 minutes and sprinkle a little bit more cheese on top just to have that little melty layer. And then we will be ready to serve it up with a few extra toppings once you serve it. But into the oven for 30 to 40 minutes we go. Okay, so we have our cheeseburger casserole out of the oven. It smells great. The cheese was all nice and bubbly. So once you do this, you can serve it exactly like this and have everyone dress it up as they'd like. So I'm just gonna do a little example. So I'm gonna scoop out a little bit. You gotta have your traditional ketchup and mustard, right? So I'm just gonna do a little drizzle like that. And then some ketchup. We'll go the other way. This is so messy. It's fine, it's fine. All right, so little pickles in the middle. Then we're gonna take some diced up Roma tomatoes. And then of course you gotta have that iceberg lettuce on top. And there we have a cheeseburger casserole for National Cheeseburger Day. Cheers. Now remember, if you have a picture to share of one of my recipes you've made or an idea for a future segment, you can text us at 614-460-3345 or find me on social media. And I